You're listening to the Jay Bird Watching Podcast, the official podcast of jaysjournal.com and fansided.com, where we discuss all things Toronto Blue Jays baseball. We'll talk about news, rumors, and game recaps. So whether you're a diehard fan or just getting started with the team, this is the podcast for you. Here's your host, Craig Borden, with co-hosts Jason Lyons and me, Ken Alfred. You're listening to the Jay Bird Watching Podcast.
Good evening, Blue Jays fans, and welcome to another week of Jay Bird Watching. We are only a week or so and some change away from actual Major League Baseball coming in. Tonight, we are actually going to be talking about a little bit of minor league baseball as well with our special guest, Ken. We have Amanda Ballestero with us tonight from the Buffalo Bisons.
Buffalo Bisons.
Go Bisons.
Go Bisons. There we go. Craig is frozen. Okay, no problem.
So Amanda is the entertainment and promotions coordinator of the Buffalo Bisons. And how are we doing this evening?
I'm great, guys. How are you this evening?
Having fun. Ready to talk some baseball because, like I said, it's actually almost time for the season to start in major leagues and minor leagues. So first, we're going to talk a little Blue Jays stuff before we literally have some fun in baseball and talk promotions and whatnot. It's going on at the AAA level and at the Blue Jays level, and just some general things that we've seen that are just fun over the years in Major League Baseball and whatnot and other sporting events. So let's talk. Spring training is wrapping up today. Funny enough, I don't know, Ken, if you saw, but Dalton Varsho, the big get for the Blue Jays, finally hit his first home run today in the spring training. And the guys gave him the silent treatment in the dugout to start things off because if it wasn't going to be that, why not? He walks into the dugout and starts doing the ghosting to everybody, and nobody was giving him a high five. And all of a sudden, he kind of like turns around and does the Charlie Brown thing, and they all come and get him.
Wow.
So, but exciting stuff to see because we were wondering when his bat was actually going to finally kick in. I know you were rather excited to see what he could do this year for the Blue Jays.
Pretty much, actually, yeah, because we all heard about, how the Toronto Blue Jays have a great defensive outfield this year, and we wanted to see them really try to, contribute. And I know that Kiermaier is doing really well, and from the offensive side as well. So, I'm glad to see that Varsho hit his first home run. I hope that bat does come alive by the time, the regular season starts, but, go Dalton.
And to that point, seeing we have a Buffalo Bison in the room, I have to talk Vladdy for a few minutes because she got to enjoy him for so long. We were talking before the show, Amanda, that he comes back from the injury list, basically, or spring training, whatever the heck's going on, misses the World Baseball Classic, and his first double that he hits went 118 miles an hour. To that point, very interesting, and I know that the Bison's account had to have been retweeting that out.
Oh yeah, we always show Vladdy our love. We miss him dearly, but we're glad to see him succeed on Blue Jays, definitely.
Yeah, and to that point, you got a little extra bonus time with him in that year and a half where he was a Toronto Blue Jay and Buffalo Blue Jay company.
Yeah, we definitely love to see him back at Salem Field. It was fun to see. And I was actually an intern when he was at the Bisons, and I always tell people that he said hi to me one time. And I was an little intern in college.
That's your claim to fame, though. You got a high and probably a wonderful smile from Vladdy because he seems. I don't think I've ever seen him terribly upset, except for unfortunately how last season ended. Yeah. But that was completely acceptable to be slightly frustrated. So, but things are trending up for the Blue Jays. They made some great moves this offseason, and we're talking to the point where usually this time of year, there's all sorts of position battles going into the actual season, and it's usually down to the wire. The Blue Jays just made their last round of cuts between our show last week and this week, and there's not a lot of unexpected stuff in this. So the Blue Jays did cut some of the guys down to the minor league camp, and to Amanda's enjoyment and excitement here that she gets to enjoy Addison Barger in Buffalo for officially. So to that point, Amanda, I know you got to see him a little bit last year. It's an exciting guy to have in Buffalo, but I do not know how long you're going to have him.
Yeah, we're not totally sure either, but we're going to enjoy him while we have him because he can definitely hit. We're looking for guys that can hit for power because we didn't really have that last year. We were kind of more of a defensive team, but we're excited to see what he can do since he came kind of late to us, but he shined when he came in.
Yeah. And I think the Blue Jays saw exactly what you could get from Addison Barger because Ken, this guy is just, he's going to just mash
jacked.
baseballs.
Yeah.
I know I'm doing no justice to this, but to that point, at the point, if all things go wrong with them trying to re-sign Matt Chapman at the major league level, I am kind of in the ballpark of feeling strangely okay if Addison Barger is the next guy up. I think, Ken, we talked about that a few weeks ago. Do you want to circle back on that one a little bit?
Well, yeah, like in terms of Chapman right now that we're talking about, Chapman.
As far as what you've seen from Barger and some of these highlights and stuff, the guy's got 2 or 3 home runs this spring. He's hitting the ball. He's playing great third base and a little bit of left field. But
well, yeah, I mean, especially like whenever we bring him up, because right now, who is the backup to Chapman? Because I know Chapman is projected for starting third baseman.
I would say it's some kind of a combination of Kevin Biggio and or Santiago Espinal being your backwards or the ambidextrous that can play anywhere guys. Probably more Espinal than Biggio.
Well, then, yeah, I'm definitely excited to see Addison Barger actually able to get called up. And like I said, feel sorry for Amanda if we have to pull him away from Buffalo. But if he can still hit those guns like what he's doing right now in the spring, then it'd be nice to have that flexibility that if Chapman's just off his game for a few games, we can have Barger in to fill in the gap.
Yep. The other big name that was on this list of cuts was Drew Hutchison, as far as what Blue Jays fans go. And I know, Ken, that just wrecks your whole big, bold predictions for the way too early predictions that we had earlier this spring. We made these predictions, Amanda, just for your benefit and the rest of the fans that might have missed this episode or whatnot. We did these like the day spring training pitchers and catchers started. We just made these crazy predictions. His was mentioning that, Yusei Kikuchi was a little rough last year. Maybe Drew Hutchinson just runs with this idea and becomes the same guy he was in 2015 when he was actually, funny enough, playing with the Blue Jays. So keeps it interesting.
That's why I'm not a prognosticator there, Craig.
You don't quite have your crystal ball ready?
No.
But it's a solid innings eater at the minor league level with our friends over at the Buffalo Bisons. And to that point, Amanda, that's going to be somebody that is the next guy up if a rotation issue happens for the Blue Jays. But he's a guy that could look very much like what Casey Lawrence was for all of you the last few years.
Yeah, definitely. Casey Lawrence was huge for us last year. And we're definitely looking for more pitchers kind of like Casey Lawrence. So
yeah, somebody to eat innings. It doesn't matter what level you're at. You need somebody to pitch more than like 5 innings.
Yeah, a guy that
Casey was that guy.
Yeah.
So, and to that point, you are probably going to get Casey back.
Yeah, I think that's what the talk was in the office, that we were going to get Casey back. We're not entirely sure. Well, the guys come on Sunday, so we're still not sure who our opening day pitcher will be too. So. Yeah,
and I'm sure that is literally a wild card up until the last minute because you are so reliant on the fact of who's going to get cut, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And then they're like, hey, we're ready for you to run over here. Just go. So that's the big talk around camp, other than the fact that today, Blue Jays fans have been wondering what you're getting from Jose Barrios. Did you see, Ken, what he did today?
I missed it because I was away from it for today. What did he do?
I know, unfortunately, like you, I have a day job too, and I only get to see highlights. But as far as what happened is he pitched 5 solid innings and looked like Jose Barrios, not the wild card that we had as Jose Barrios last year. So
that's
very intriguing.
I was going to make a comment because it seems like he's performing really well during the spring training so far. So the fact that he went 5 innings, great. And I assume he pitched a really good game at this point, right?
Yes. And to that point, I'm wondering how much the actually that extra competition of being in the World Baseball Classic actually really benefited somebody like him, because they just got the juices going a little bit earlier than spring training games. Okay, great, I'm going out there with 60-70% of my effort to not blow up my arm, and then this is the week that they would maybe start ramping up to get ready for a real game situation. If this is the real game Jose Barrios, that's an ace level guy from not that long ago that we traded a ton of talent for, of which thankfully on the Minnesota Twins, and unfortunate for them, hasn't panned out for them yet. But this you're talking already that they're debating in Blue Jays fandom about if it's Manoah or Gausman to take the opening day ball. And then you have Chris Bassett, who has had an insanely talented spring training. And now you have Jose Barrios. That's 4 guys solid.
Yeah. And I still think they're still trying to figure out who the 5th pitcher is going to be. And I don't know. It seems like a lot of people are saying that it is Kikuchi. That looks like it's going to be the potential 5th starter. But, like I said, if our pitching is as strong as we think they can be, then we're definitely going to be a force to be reckoned with this season.
Yeah. So he basically threw one mistake today, and it was a home run. And I'm trying to, because I don't know this gentleman for the Baltimore Orioles. Taran Vavara. So rookie. Maybe it was a lucky swing. I don't know. Maybe it was a horrible right down the middle. Just crushed it kind of situation. I'm not sure, but these are the kind of things that Blue Jays fans are hoping to get from him. And getting, I think it said 5 strikeouts too.
Yeah,
those are exactly the kind of things. Yeah, 5 strikeouts, and like I said, that was the one blemish on the outing through 5 innings. I'll take that all day for a guy that really is slated in to be our 4th starter right now.
If he can continue that less than 3 ERA that he has right now in the spring, even better.
Yeah. Amanda, do you have anything to add in? I know I don't know how much you've seen somebody pitch like Jose Barrios, because he hasn't pitched for the AAA teams in a million years, but as a Blue Jay fan affiliated. And we're back to the lagging fun.
We're back to the lagging.
So
Amanda's probably going to be saying yes, very excited.
So some of the other guys that were on the minor league piece that are going to the Bisons, I unfortunately lost the list in front of me because I clicked on too many things.
Here I am.
We lost you on the asking you about what you've seen from kind of like the Blue Jays spring training. What do you? I'm sure there's minor league guys that are coming your way that you're excited about, like Addison Barger. But have you seen anything from like the Jose Barrioses and the box scores and things like that that you're rather intrigued on, being 6 degrees from the Toronto Blue Jays like you are?
There's been a few names that we've kind of like thrown around the office. I've just kind of heard get people that I work with about from spring training, and Addison Barger is probably one of the bigger names that I've heard when we're talking about spring training. And then from our social media standpoint, we kind of retweet a lot of things that Otto Lopez has done. We're glad to have him back. We're not sure how long he's going to stay with us, but just kind of happy to have some of our returners and then some kind of new young guys to kind of help us out here.
Yeah, and some of these new guys that are going to be coming your way, there's a few good guys that the Blue Jays claimed off of waivers that are going to be playing with Buffalo, and Julian Fernandez and Whiten Bernard. Mm-hmm. Fernandez is one of those guys, I hear he can throw the ball almost 100 out of the bullpen. So that's going to be something that, like, to that point, he's a just miss candidate for making the roster. So that's just shows you the depth the Blue Jays have amassed over the offseason here in the bullpen if you're just not taking a wild card on a guy like that. Mm-hmm. So meanwhile, Whiten Bernard might be one of the most athletic guys I've seen playing baseball. He just hasn't really found that next step to take his game up to. He's in that ballpark where he's approaching 30. He's only played so many games at the major league level. He made it to the majors last year with the Colorado Rockies, and it was a big thing because it's that awesome story you hear that he stuck with it. He finally made it. He's up in the majors, and he's in that dancing in the line right now, a quadruple A player. He's too good for the minors. Hasn't made that next step to really move in, but to that point, very super talented, and it's going to be a fun person in the Buffalo Bisons outfield. And then, like I had mentioned a moment ago, the one that I'm not sure if he's going to end up in Double-A or if he's going to end up with you is that Zach Britton. I think he needs a challenge, and he's going to look really good in the Bisons uniform because the guy just mashes. It's another guy right in that middle of that lineup. Him and Barger, fun to watch.
And Amanda's lagged again. That's okay. That is all good.
To that point, I think the Bisons are pretty set when if those two are in the lineup in the middle of your in the middle of the lineup, just mashing baseballs and playing your outfield. But looks like we're good.
We're back. Amanda's back.
to that point. So those are some really, that's like I said, 11 players got reassigned yesterday. This is where the Blue Jays are trending, is they're really building that core up. And I had mentioned a few minutes ago, so who's left? There's still too many people in camp, right? Yeah. So something's got to happen. So down to a couple of people that we mentioned, one that we haven't, Otto Lopez is still in camp. Don't know if they're keeping him, or the alternative would be an outfielder in crap, why am I blanking? I lost it.
It's okay.
Amanda, who are we talking about? Oh, Nathan Lukes. I don't know how I missed Nathan Lukes. But Nathan Lukes is the other younger gentleman that's still in camp, and to that point was one of the key contributors to the Bisons offense last season. I believe he batted like 300 something, Amanda. It was damn near close to it.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. Either way, he was the highlight of your outfield last year.
Yeah.
MVP, if I'm wrong.
Yeah. He was our season MVP, and he kind of laid low for the first half of the season, and then once
things warmed up, he warmed up.
July.
Yeah. So.
Yep.
That's all that matters. He started mashing in July, and like I said, he could be sending his ticket for being a Toronto Blue Jay this spring too. He's doing everything he's supposed to do, and I really think that the roster right now, the way it's constructed, favors Luke's over Otto Lopez. As good as Otto Lopez has, and he's had a wonderful performance for the Canadian baseball team for the World Baseball Classic as well. As much as I would love to say that, just a shoe-in, the problem is, to what we mentioned a minute ago, there's lots of infield depth on the Toronto Blue Jays right now in Kevin Biggio and Santiago Espinal. So them carrying that extra infielder might not be in the cards for right now. So that would be the catch.
And so, sorry, guys, how did the Bisons do last in the 2022 season?
Did you get that in front of you?
We were in first place for like the first half of the season. And then things kind of took a dive when we went to Scranton and got swept. I think we were about in the middle of our division last year. And then the Durham Bulls won the AAA championship.
Now, you were battling back and forth with my hometown here with the Rochester Red Wings for first place for easily the first half of the season. And that was very fun to watch.
It was always 1-2, 1-2. It was so weird.
So as far as Blue Jays news goes, Ken, unless you have something in front of you that you would like to chit-chat about, or Amanda, if you had something that was Blue Jays news that you would like to talk about, I think the only other real topic is who starts opening day. But please fill me in if you would have a topic either of you would like to throw into the room here before we go on.
I don't know. We can talk about potential starters. Yeah.
So first day, opening day, is next Thursday. So the 30th, yep, and we'll be in St. Louis, where the Blue Jays will be taking on the Cardinals, because the Blue Jays do not come home until April 11th. So they got a whole solid week on the road, easy. Good 10 games or something like that. To that point, opening day, right now, Ken, if somebody put you in a corner and said that you had to pick a pitcher, are you going with Alek Manoah or are you going with Kevin Gausman?
I think I'm going to go with Gausman just because he seems to be hotter right out of the spring at this point. Manoah is going to obviously be probably our second day starter. And I know Manoah is still just loosening up and stuff like that. I mean, I know we can't take stats too critically during the spring training, but I expect Gausman to probably be the first one.
Yeah. Amanda, I know did you get to see Manoah a couple of years ago when you were still interning, or
he's one of the names on the Blue Jays that I know. So there's certain names on the Blue Jays that I know, some names I don't know, and he's one of the names that I know. So I'd probably go with him based off names.
There you go. There you go. So to your point, Ken, I do think Kevin Gausman is going to be the opening day starter, and I do think that's his reward for what he did in his first crazy contract year with the Blue Jays last year. I just think it spells this is your pat on the back. Schneider and Manoah are already buddy anyways. Gausman being the newer guy in the room, I think that still will ring true to the point that he is our ace, and he has looked nothing but that already this spring.
He hasn't allowed a run yet in spring training.
I think he's only walked one guy.
Yeah. He's actually walked 3 guys, and he struck out 18 in only 4 games. So
yeah. So, but to that point, how many innings is that? Like 20-ish?
13.2 apparently.
Yeah, that's it's not even a walking inning.
Yeah.
so
he's definitely like I said, coming hot out the start. Manoah's not that far back. He's struck out about 15 already in just 14 innings. So
yeah. Either way, both aces. Just saying.
Absolutely.
To that point, I think it's actually just as impressive, if not equally impressive, because of the new major league rules. Kevin Gausman had to change his whole windup and everything because he had one of those weird little rocks that they're not allowed to do anymore. So he
call
had
it
to
a balk now if he does that.
You are correct, sir.
Oh, boo earns. Jeez.
So in the midst of that, that's one of those things that his spring training had to take a different trajectory because of that, because he had to not only just gear back up, but he had to literally tear down his mechanics enough to get away from that issue. So give him the reward.
Yeah, it looks like he's adjusted really well. Same with Kikuchi as well. He's kind of like adapted fairly well so far during the with the pitching clock and all that sort of thing. And I'm thinking that as long as it gets out of their heads, especially for Kikuchi's sake, then they're going to probably perform a lot better this year than they did last year.
Yeah. Hey, Dr. Ross isn't here to talk baseball mental stuff with us today, so
I know.
Yeah, that was somebody we recently had on. Amanda, Dr. Jenna Ross is a mental coach and a psychiatrist, and we were talking mental side of the baseball game, and we were pointing out some weird things that Blue Jays fans have seen over the years, and one of them was the fact that Yusei Kikuchi all of a sudden can find the plate this spring, and we were wondering how much the fact is that because of the pitch clock at the major league level now, he doesn't have time to think; he just has to throw.
Yeah. Just block it all out.
As somebody like yourself that's actually seen the benefit of the pitch clock, have you noticed on the minor league level the games actually getting a little shorter because it's moving?
I love the pitch clock. I think it shaved off like an hour and a half for our games.
Really?
Like games used to be like I remember when I was an intern at the Lansing Lugnuts, games were like 4 hours. Our games last year were like 2.5, 3 hours. Like it made a difference.
Wow.
And fans noticed too.
That's a big difference.
Yeah.
Especially on minor league level. That gets you to Friday fireworks at like 11 o'clock almost on the dot, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And then last year it would be like the game was like almost over and it was still light out. So we had to like find time to kill time after the game for it to be dark enough to have the fireworks. So
someone throw a cat on the field. Someone throw a cat on the field.
Rally squirrel.
We did have a turkey
squirrel
playing on the field one time. Yeah. A turkey that flew on the field and our players were like scared of it.
Yeah, that sounds like Western New York right there. Just saying. Everybody thinks New York's one big city. There's like turkeys and stuff. So, but that's the fun with minor league baseball, and we're going to get into that in a minute. But I think that the Blue Jays are destined to eventually give Kevin Gausman the opening day job. And right now, Blue Jays fans are, if you look on Twitter and whatnot, it's almost a dead heat. Everybody's back and forth on the two. And like I said, you can't go wrong either way. So pick one, move along. I would say, though, that my one deterrent, at least with Manoah on for opening day this early in his career, because this is really, Blue Jays fans forget, this is only his third season. Does he get too amped up on opening day? You know what I mean? He's a guy that's already got a lot of tenacity and ready to go. I wonder if that little bit of extra is the reason he gets a little wild or something during that opening day. But I still
think he's going to sprint on the field and like pull a hamstring or something like that. Is that how intense you're talking about?
Yeah. I'm talking like you being the long-term Blue Jay fan in the room, and I'll just break this down to everybody so everybody will get it. Brett Lawrie, any Red Bulls before a game?
Sorry, how much you missed? You cut out there that second there. How many Red Bulls did Brett Lawrie have?
Like if he has like 5 Red Bulls before a game, which is what the rumor is.
Wow! Holy crap!
There's a reason that it looked like he was going to get hurt every time he ran after a baseball, and I'm just assuming too much sugar. I loved him, by the way. He was an awesome guy. So to that point, I wonder if that little bit of extra, environment, much more to feed off of the fans, even in a hostile environment like St. Louis, if that'd be that little tip between being a win or a loss on opening day. That's all. So thought. So anyways, let's talk Blue Jays promotions, Bisons promotions. just fun with baseball in general, because we are a week away from actually being in the stands and being able to watch baseball live. No more spring training, no more exhibitions. World Baseball Classic was fun, and I thoroughly enjoyed the game last night, even though Team USA lost. Just saying. And not to mention Shohei Ohtani is easily the best player in baseball, I think, at this point.
Absolutely.
So without going too far down that trail, this is a Blue Jays / Bisons podcast. Let's talk the Buffalo Bisons first. Amanda, lay out some of the fun that the Bisons fans are going to get from coming to the ballpark, what things are going on, other than, the things that Blue Jays fans and Bisons fans have in common, like Looney and $2 hot dog night are the same thing. So things like that.
So we have some of our bigger nights returning, like Star Wars night is June 3rd. That's one of our bigger nights. It's one of our kind of things we're proud of. We have on Star Wars night, we have like a on-field performance post-game with our Star Wars Alliance. There's a group in Buffalo that they're like Star Wars cosplayers, so they perform.
Would that happen to be the 501st Legion by any chance?
I'm not sure.
I have some friends that do the stuff for the kids and stuff, and I believe that would be what they're called. It's just they dress up like stormtroopers and all the I think it's the 501st Legion.
So real. And I think this is our 11th or 12th year that we've done this. So they've had a storyline for their post-game performance every year, and it follows the storyline. So the story will continue this year, and fans really love it. We used to have Jabba the Hutt on our concourse to take pictures with, but I don't think since COVID we didn't have Jabba the Hutt, and I don't think we're bringing him back this year. But we still have some really cool stuff going on for.
Couldn't feed him enough beer and hot dogs to keep him happy, kind of thing.
Yeah, someone will complain about it. There's always something to complain about. We have Marvel Defenders of the Diamond. That's an initiative that Major League Baseball, Minor League Baseball, and Marvel have. Where we have this year, we have specialty jerseys. We have a special logo with the Bisons. It's kind of like a superheroized logo that will be featured on our jerseys and on-field caps. And that's kind of something similar. It's kind of Marvel themed, superhero themed. We will have Hulk and Black Panther at that game for available for pictures and stuff like that. Last year we had Captain America and Captain Marvel, and then we're kind of switching it up this year. And then we'll have special in-game stuff going on with that.
That Defenders of the Diamond thing is pretty cool, and I honestly completely forgot about that until you mentioned it. And I'm not going to lie, the Bisons have one of the more badass of the logos.
Yeah, a little biased, but ours is kind of the coolest with all the snow, because we bring in the snow and.
Especially this year with the snow. It's like you all brought that on yourselves.
Yeah.
You're going to have 900 feet of snow this winter.
Yeah, we revealed the logo in October and said winter is coming, and winter literally came.
I'm going to, because we're talking about this, and I'm sure it's, the hardcore Blue Jay fan might have seen this kind of thing. I'm going to bring it up on the screen here just while Amanda's talking, and we can get an idea of what this logo looks like. Because like I said, it is pretty epic and legendary, and they're selling all this stuff on BuffaloBisons.com, just saying.
Yeah, we did a little photo shoot with with the Marvel merch on a few weeks ago, and we're releasing that on social media soon. So you'll be seeing me modeling the hats and sweatshirts and stuff soon.
So that's what you get as a perk for being the coordinator of all this. You get to be like, oh, hey, what's up?
It's my roommate who's the social media coordinator asked me to model, so she she put it all together, and she did a great job.
And when she can find you that easily, that's just what's going to happen.
Can't really escape her.
So anyway, as you were talking about the promotions, I'm sorry I interrupted.
One of our other big nights that we're bringing back that we haven't had since 2019 is Mystery Ball Night. We have different celebrities, whether it's Blue Jays or Bills players or just random celebrities. Like we have a ball signed by Jay Leno. We have random athletes and celebrities and different things like that signing. We have them sign baseballs, and then we wrap them up so you don't know whose it is. And then fans pay $20, and they receive just a random signed baseball from a celebrity or athlete or different personalities around Buffalo. And then all the proceeds go towards Micah Hyde's Imagine for Youth Foundation. So it all goes to charity, and it's a really cool night. And we usually do.
Is he the one that still does the celebrity softball tournament?
Yeah.
Is it high?
We're also having that on May 7th, and that's always a really fun thing. My roommates and I got to meet Josh. My roommates and my interns and I got to meet Josh Allen last year, and we took pictures of him. And he's the back-to-back home run champion, so he's defending his title this year.
Oh, there it is. It's not just the prowess with the arm, but he's carrying lumber too.
Oh, he can hit. We need to sign a contract with him. He's got to be a dual sport athlete.
Yeah. Get him to do some minor league baseball, or at least do some home run derbies for y'all before the games and whatnot. They have challenge Josh night.
Who can hit off? Who can strike out Josh Allen?
That would be there's an event for you. It's like what was it? I think it was the Atlanta Braves that used to do that guy that was like beat the streak or whatever it was. The guy that ran like beat the freeze, and he ran like 900 miles an hour. The guy would give him like a minute start or like a 30-second start running around the outfield, and he would still outrun the person that started 30 seconds before him. It was slightly obnoxious. God, I only wish I could move that fast, let alone run that fast. Exactly. But no, I've actually been to the celebrity softball thing a few times. That is a wonderful event and a great time for everybody. It was unfortunately probably the year before Josh Allen did right before COVID. So
everything was better before COVID.
Yeah,
we all know that.
We're getting back to normal, including maybe even bringing Jabba the Hutt back on Star Wars night. It's okay.
Hopefully. It was a really cool thing that we had.
So those are the things the Bison's got going on. Ken, have you really looked at the Blue Jays actual promos who got scheduled too much? There is some really cool stuff as far as giveaways for fans, and they're also doing a Star Wars night because that's just become the cool thing to do at all Major League and minor league baseball facilities, which to that point, it always puts butts in the seats. And everybody loves Star Wars, and what's better than Star Wars with a beer or a hot dog and some baseball? That's just more awesome.
Oh, sorry, Craig. What are the other days? I didn't get a chance to see it. So, but first, before that, when is Kelly Gruber bobblehead day?
I don't know when Kelly Gruber bobblehead day is. And right now, you might have a little problem selling that one on Blue Jays Brass, just saying. He's not exactly been the best person on social media the last 4 years.
I'm only going to remember what I saw as a kid. That's why. And during the Blue Jays run. That's the way I look at it. Same with the whole thing with Bill Cosby.
All that right out.
Yeah. Same thing with Bill Cosby.
I always jello pudding pop, right?
I look at him just as Dr. Heathcliff Huxtable. I don't think about anything else, so I can watch those shows and just appreciate it. Same with Kelly Gruber. I have no clue what he did. I assume it's not the greatest.
Don't care. But he wrote a kid's book.
He wrote a kid's book.
I gave you your trivia last week. So that was something we goofed around with. Was Scoop we did a few years during COVID was while we were doing the show every week and trying to figure out the stuff to do. We did a Guess That Blue Jays night against the podcast team versus the writers at jaysjournal.com on Fansided. And it was 8 of us in a room trying to stump each other. It was really fun, but I threw one of the ones that I knew Ken here would get with Kelly Gruber, right? And he did. He just threw it out in the room because I knew he would and just said, yep, I got it. So, but that was the useless trivia for the night, that Kelly Gruber wrote kids book. So, was there anything else on the Bison's schedule you wanted to talk before we talk about what's on the Blue Jays promo schedule?
Yeah, every year we have heritage nights. We have Irish, Polish, Italian, Hispanic heritage, and Native American heritage night, where we kind of celebrate all those different heritages. And we have pregame parties with different dancers and different music and food dedicated to those heritages. Nice. And then we used to do t-shirt giveaways, but this year we're doing coaster giveaways. So there are different coasters dedicated to the different heritages. So
most of those heritages you called out there, the Irish, Italian, all drinking communities. So
yeah, they're always really fun nights. Our Polish night was crazy last year. I couldn't believe how lively that crowd was for Polish night. It was really fun.
How much polka and how many brats?
A lot. Definitely a lot of brats. Definitely a lot of sauerkraut going around. We have a pierogi stand this year, so the pierogi stand will be super busy on Polish night.
There you go. And to that point, I'm assuming Salem almost has a problem getting you all more brats for the ballpark. You know, you have a hot dog and sausage company as your sponsors.
Yeah, we'll definitely be putting those out for us.
There you go. So, anything else? are we good? I don't want to put you on the spot too much, but I know you are coordinating these things.
Yeah, those are definitely our main ones. We definitely have a full promo schedule this season. We've got a lot of fun stuff going on.
I'm gonna give you a quick pitch. Tell people where to find that schedule.
Bisons.com.
There it is. Click on that schedule. Make sure you hit those little asterisks on the schedule, right? So let's talk Blue Jays. As far as their fun and their coordinating with what's going on with the Blue Jays and events and whatnot, there is a ton of stuff on this schedule. And it's everything from cool bobbleheads to jerseys to Bo Bichette's cool little.
I'm assuming he's talking about Bo Bichette. Sorry, you cut
Correct
there.
if I'm wrong.
Rewind that.
Springer?
Sorry, Craig, rewind that 10 seconds.
All right. So they got a little bit of everything for everybody at the Blue Jays Stadium this year, and it's everything from replica jerseys to half jerseys, because they wanted to do one with a split for Kevin Gausman's splitter pitch being his calling card. It's a Blue Jays jersey split down the middle, one with the blue and one with the white. Kind of fun. Things like that, to some really, really cool bobbleheads that are going to be gone really quickly with lines around down Yonge Street and everything. So, but they're only giving the 15,000 of those, and it's a 45,000 seat venue. I think now with all the renovations. So that's gonna be literally, like I said, lines around the ballpark. And then probably one of the coolest ones that we talked a little bit about this show a couple of weeks ago, when Jose Bautista was announced that he's going to be in the ballpark, being entered into the level of excellence, and as they are doing a backflip bobblehead. So how do you miss on that? So
what was the one you said about Bo Bichette, though? You kind of cut out during the Bo Bichette one. What's the special one you said?
It's that cool, that sweatband thing that he wears to keep his hair in his flow back. The thing that usually says Bichette happens.
Nice.
So they got that. They have Vlad Gold Glove bobblehead. They have a really cool one with Danny Jansen and Romano that's doing the handshake after the ball game kind of thing. Really, really cool stuff. And then even one for the kids. We got an Elmo night. They're going to give away on Jay's Saturday.
Is he still popular, Elmo?
Jerseys on random characters.
Yeah. And but to that point, if it gets people to come to the ballpark, you got to think, hey, if I can take my kid to the ballpark and she enjoys getting a Elmo bobblehead, win, and I get to drink beer and hot dogs. I don't know if you noticed the trend.
Well, hot dogs and beer, Craig. I think that's what drives you to the games, right?
It's part of it. It's like the icing on the cake or the cherry on top. Baseball, then boom, beer and hot dogs.
How much?
Although here in Rochester, it's beer and garbage plates with hot dogs on it.
Hey, how much?
I know Amanda knows this, but I know the Blue Jay fan doesn't know this because I'm the weird one that lives in Rochester, New York. A garbage plate is a food concoction made by drunk people that has home fries and mac salad with some sort of a meat and hot sauce thrown on top of it. The meat's usually a hot dog, a hamburger, pulled pork, something of that, but it just comes in a to-go tray because that's the only way you can serve it, and you just kind of sit there and smash it.
I'm intrigued to try it. My heart might not survive it, but I'm intrigued.
At the age of 38, I'm surprised I've made it this far, Ken. So, just saying. And you would think that we're just following the fat Americans thing to a T here in Rochester. Just saying. But to that point, as far as fun with minor league promotions go, they always have Rochester Plates Night, which is a Red Wings wear the jerseys that look like a garbage plate. And then we play the Buffalo Wings rather often. Are they still doing that promo this year?
We're doing it we're doing it on National Chicken Wing Day. We're changing our name back to the Buffalo Wings and then doing a bunch of chicken wing promotions.
When is Chicken Wing Day?
It's July 29th.
Is that just for Buffalo Bisons, or is that like an actual Chicken Wing Day?
I think that's like the national holiday of National Chicken Wing Day. Yeah.
That's like number one on that day for your obscure holidays catalog,
Yeah.
So July 29th, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the next fun part is we're still doing the wing race versus the blue cheese and the celery.
Yeah. Yeah, we have it's blue cheese, celery, chicken wing, carrot, beef on weck, and then on Fridays we have fish fry, and fish fry always wins. Don't tell Bisons fans that.
Oh. Oh man, I put all my money on the wing again. So, how many interns can you get to race? No, I'm just kidding. My brother used to do that they did the sausage race here in Rochester with he's all the Italian names were the greats that started the Rochester Red Wings. So, okay, sausage. So, for fun. But other than that, Ken, we still have the Toronto Blue Jays returning back for Looney Hot Dog Day. And they have the Junior Jays stuff going on still. So there's still the normal things going on with the Blue Jays. And now you throw all that normal in with these new areas in the ballpark, with the neighborhood stuff that they're doing in the outfield. It's going to be a little bit different to go to the ballpark, because now you could go an hour before the game, have something to do in the ballpark, enjoy batting practice and goof around, and then maybe score a bobblehead on one of these days and hang out in one of these places that one of them's like backyard themed with like swings and stuff in it. The other one's like the rooftop bar place. Some really cool stuff that, in addition to all these promos, you're going to want to stay at the ballpark. Goof around.
I mean, that's what we're trying to figure out right now. Like, I know my wife, Mrs. K, and I were trying to figure out when can we actually take the kids to their first Blue Jay game. So I know tickets are going to be really hard to come by, especially because you said they're not coming back till April 11th, which is our actual wedding anniversary. So we'll see if we can get tickets.
If you don't have your opening day ticket already, though, you might want to start scalping one.
Or just in general, just the kids want to see an actual Blue Jays game, which is going to be great. So yeah, looking forward to that.
I thought this was a kind of a fun one for catching all the also European people that live in the area of Toronto. They have a cricket day that they're going to actually give out like a cricket looking uniform for one of their giveaways. And I probably just froze because nobody else is moving. Okay, there it is.
You froze for just a second there, Craig.
But having something, like I said, that's something I would have never in a million years thought of, even though cricket is baseball or baseball is cricket. I don't know which way it goes. But it looks pretty snazzy, and it's something that's like, okay, it's, more or less a golf shirt that looks awesome cricketed, and that's something I can wear to work. I might be interested, just saying, on June 24th.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I said, they have the split jersey. That is really, really cool. That's something completely clever. They have the Jays Care Foundation night that is similar to the Mystery Ball night that Amanda was talking about, where you can auction and get stuff from Blue Jays fandom and whatnot. I'm wondering, because they usually give away some weird ballpark related stuff too. I'm wondering if they kept some of the better looking old seats from the ballpark when they did these renovations, Ken, that they auctioned off. Put an autograph on it. If not, you better be listening. It's a good idea. So,
although the question is, Craig, let's say they do like auction off some of the old seats. Where do you put it in your house?
Oh, I'll find a place. I don't care.
And will you allow people to sit in it?
This chair right here will be that. 500 level right there on the back. Because I can't afford real seats. So, but to that point, if they always find some really cool stuff for those giveaways for that, or not giveaways, for those auctions, especially for the Jays Care Foundation, which is helping Blue Jays baseball and youth baseball throughout all of Canada. So great reason to be given to that charity. So things like that. Cool, along with they're having more Pride giveaways and stuff this year again for the Pride weekend. There's literally something for everybody on this promotion schedule, and to find, thinking about going to the ballpark, but what's that last thing that really makes somebody go? And maybe there's something on here for everybody, as I mentioned, and those are, like I said, just some of the cooler ones. But
I know I want to go to the. I want to go to the Canada one. Do they still have the red Canada Day jerseys? I think on those days, I want to have.
They haven't shown what it's going to look like yet this year, though.
Yeah, I'm trying to get it to match my my red hat, because I can't seem to find a place to put it or wear it when I'm on the show. So everything's blue. So
I'm noticing a trend. I don't know why everything would be.
A little bit.
Like I mentioned, I was trying to find something Bisons or something to wear tonight. then I had a little trouble finding anything that was, actually in my closet still for my children. So, but
kids.
To that point, let's dive into our memories a little bit here and think of those things that brought you to the ballpark, or maybe you happened to procure while you were at the ballpark when you were a kid, or even recently, or whatnot. There's been some crazy things I've seen over the years, and some really fun things. And what is there anything that pops into your mind as like, wow, I really think somebody should do that again, or that was just one of my favorite things, that was a nice perk for going to the ballpark that night? Most of my stuff is like some of the fun I had like on Star Wars night, the first time that they started doing that years ago. Because my friend tricked me into being one of those guys that dressed up like a stormtrooper. That's why I knew about that 501st Legion. So is there anything that comes to mind for either of you?
I'll let Amanda go first.
You're so tiny. She's like, you're putting me on the spot.
I always like when there was like performers on the field doing something crazy, like Tyler's Amazing Balancing Act. We're having him come to the ballpark this summer. He balances just anything and everything on his chin. Like he does like, yeah, innings. Cool. He'll like do like a little performance on the field, but when he's not doing something on the field between innings, he's just going through the crowd and fans give him something like their cell phone, their beer, and he'll just balance it on his chin. I don't know how he got into that, but he does stuff like that. And just those wacky
something like that. I wonder how much is like, because I picked up some really stupid things from sitting on the bench waiting to play baseball as a kid, like just juggling baseballs with one hand, picking them up and throwing them behind your back and catching it, doing it, dropping it here and hitting it with your elbow to catch it again. You think that's something like he was just sitting around waiting for something else to happen? It's like, you know what? I'm just gonna just start goofing around with it.
Probably
that's the only way I can think you could get something like that.
Yeah, he can do like a whole bike and like a ladder and stuff like that. He can do really good stuff.
Wow.
I can't even imagine doing something like that off my chin. It'd probably just snap and be a horrible, catastrophic thing for everybody to watch. But maybe that's the reason people show up and watch. Maybe it's as much as that. Ken, what are you thinking?
Well, aside from like since my Kelly Gruber bobblehead thing got poo-pooed on today, then the only thing I can think of is either a dancing Homer kind of situation night or something like that, because I think that was popular for those who watch The Simpsons. But those are the only two things that come to mind.
Yeah. I was, and this is funny enough, one that's not, it's 6 degrees from the Blue Jays, like Kevin Bacon kind of like thing. I was down in Tampa, Florida, visiting some friends, and the Blue Jays happened to be in town the night that I was flying out of Tampa. So I was like, well, I got to go to Tropicana Field, as much as I, didn't want to relive that experience again. Because it's just a rough ballpark. But to that point, if you're in Tampa, go. It is still worth it 1,000,000 times over. It's just, if you're used to other ballparks, you got to remember it's like taking a step back in time a little bit. But to that point, they had 80s night at Tropicana Field, and not only was all the uniforms and everything kind of 80s themed, they brought the Devil Rays look. It has all the neon stuff for the throwback jerseys and things that night, along with just having all this crazy neon stuff around the ballpark and having a good time with some of the 80s music and whatnot. But Pat Benatar, Joan Jett actually played after the ball game at like 11 o'clock at night. Played for a whole hour afterwards. And I'm like, wait a minute, I get to, hang out, goof around at a ballpark, have a great time, listen to some awesome music during the game, because grew up in the 80s, 90s kid. So, but then I get to see Joan Jett after the ball game and like literally kind of have a bad reputation about it. So I was like, this is really cool. And like I said, for the price of $25 or whatever it was, that was a really fun night for me and my few friends that were down there. And then I got on the plane and came back home to Rochester, freeze in the middle of the summer. It was like, it was a weird week. It was like, I went from being 90 degrees down there to like, like right around, 10 degrees Celsius-ish. When I got back here, there was some weird, Western New York weather mass coming through, and it was cold. It was like 60 out. So that's what happens early in April and May area.
Yes, very much so.
It almost broke me, Ken.
It's all right.
So
it's okay.
So we have any other promotion fun other than like if we have like Panic at the Disco night that happened into Chicago memories for Amanda way back when, and the Disco Burn night or whatever it was that almost caused a riot.
I got the perfect date for you. For those
There
kids
it
who
is.
grew up in the 90s, you got to have a crisscross night where everyone has to wear their clothes backwards.
There you go.
If you remember that, for those who don't remember the song, what's it called? Jump by Crisscross. If not, YouTube it, watch the song. It's a nice hip hop rap song from like kids. I don't even know how old they're probably really old now, but back then it was like really cool. Really cool.
Yeah.
So,
now you're making me wonder, like, okay, now, like I said, I'm almost 40. Does it go from 80s nights to 90s nights and it just becomes like Janko Jeans and Green Day?
Yeah, 90s is starting to become. I'm definitely going to write down that crisscross night wearing clothes backwards. I think that's funny. I think fans would get into
credit.
There it is.
I'll definitely credit you and give you some tickets to that game.
Ooh.
There you go. I'll make sure I don't meet him there. I'm just kidding.
Kelly Gruber.
There it is. As long as you're not doing what we were doing a few weeks ago, where we were just making fun of trying to bump our social media up and go Tom Brady.
Tom Brady. There you
It
go.
was the night we were recording and the news broke like right before we went on the show that he was actually retiring. So it's like, okay,
Like
and Tom Brady.
actual retirement.
Absolutely. I won't believe it till the season starts.
Brett Favre. Oh, sorry. So anyway, Amanda, we got just under 10 minutes left in the show here. This is your time to shine. Shameless self-promote, whatever, for yourself, the Buffalo Bisons, where Blue Jays fans can find you, that kind of stuff.
Definitely follow all the Bisons social media pages: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, at Buffalo Bisons. I'm pretty sure that's what it is for all of them. My roommate Marissa is the social media coordinator, so I always try to give her all the recognition she deserves because she does a really good job at growing the following for the Bisons. Go to bisons.com for tickets. We're having a pretty cool promotion for Canadian fans with no service fees on tickets up until I believe it is May 31st, because we really want to get Canadian fans back to the ballpark. We definitely miss Canadian fans since we didn't have, with the border restrictions, we didn't have as many Canadian fans as we wanted to last season. So we want to see more Canadians out at the ballpark this season.
It's Buffalo. You're only this far away. Come down.
Really, let's jump away. Just get on the Peace Road.
It's like you've been listening to those Darien Lake commercials. It's only a hop, skip, and a jump away. So, but to that point, Amanda, it's been a pleasure. Is there anything either yourself or Ken that you would like to chat here with the last few minutes? Unfortunately, I came unprepared. I don't have a stupid game to play this evening to end the show. So
it's okay, Craig. We don't have to go all the way to the hour. Like I said, we would ideally like to, but if we can't come up with any topics, that's what we always throw back to the listeners to make sure, watching us, please send some topics that you want us to talk about. If you want to talk about how great Kelly Gruber is, we'll be glad to talk about it for an entire episode. Craig.
There it is. I got it. But to that point, I like I said, it's just a fun time. I cannot get over how excited I am to just storm into the season, and it's for a multitude of reasons. It's for what's going to be going on in Buffalo. It's what's going on for the Blue Jays. This is going to be a fun year for baseball for Blue Jays fans all across the board, minors and major league level. It's going to be fun. I cannot wait for it to start. And I guess this is where I have to shamelessly self-promote our own stuff, because I actually have something to promote. Blue Jays fans, next week, make sure you tune in to us live. For the love of God, I beg of you. We saw all of you in tonight. I saw it. I see the little counter up here on the screen. I'd say something. And I have a great guest in former Toronto Blue Jay, Canadian and baseball enthusiast, Scott Richmond, is going to be joining us on the show next week. And he just is fresh off of hanging out in full-on Canadian mounted gear at the World Baseball Classic down in Arizona. He is ready for opening day and already in full mid-season baseball form. We want to make sure that we have some chit-chat and whatnot, along with all the other fun that we get to have next week, as we literally are going to be recording the night before opening day. So
do you think he'll actually wear the Mounties uniform on the show?
I'm kind of curious what we're going to get, because he's a little bit, he fits the goofball level of this collective that we have on this show wholeheartedly. So it's going to be a fun night. And like I said, if you can't get us on the live feed, and I find it hard to believe if you have time at 7:00 next Wednesday or 7:00 Wednesday any week, join us. We are live on YouTube, Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, name it. We're on it. So, and then afterwards, if you miss it and you still want to hear all the fun shenanigans that we had with me, Ken, Jason, and Scott Richmond, make sure you join and jump in on the, wherever you get your podcasting pleasures from, whether it's Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, any of that stuff. And hopefully
Amazon
we get
Music.
Jason back. Amazon Music. We are on Amazon Music now, too. It seems like every time something new comes out, our wonderful podcasting friends just dump us right on it. It's really cool. And to that point, we are the official podcast of jaysjournal.com. Part of fansided.com. So there you go. Make sure you check out these logos and all of our wonderful friends that write for that website as well. Amanda, it's been a wonderful pleasure having you on this show this evening. Thank you very much for joining us and giving us a little insight to what's going on in Buffalo when you get to inherit all our wonderful minor league guys this season. And hopefully I'm going to steal them as Toronto Blue Jays fans. But that's what happens.
Thank you for having me. Go Bisons. Our opening day is April 4th at 2:05 p.m. So really excited for that, and really down to the wire for us.
Yeah, and hopefully, at least it seems like here in Western New York, the weather is finally trending in the right direction. I'm going to knock on desk really quick. So, I don't know if you guys do it or not, but it's been a Rochester tradition for as long as the Red Wings have been in town. Opening day in April is always, if it's a snow out, you get a free ticket for any Blue Jay game, or any Red Wing game later in the season. So if opening days a snow out, it's happened. Just saying.
Yeah, we probably should do that, but we luckily haven't had snow outs. Our opening day last year, I think it was like 60 degrees and sunny. So we're hoping for something similar.
That global warming thing is making it harder and harder for that promotion to actually pay off for minor league baseball fans, but it is what it is. So we'll move along to the next fun time. But into that, it's minor league baseball. There's always going to be fun. So, anyways, anything else? Nope, good to go. All right. Well, Blue Jays fans, thanks again for tuning in. We'll talk to you next week with our guest, Scott Richmond. And I think, Ken, you know what to do. And I think we clued you in, Amanda. It's that time of the evening where we do 2 claps. So Ric Flair and let's go Blue Jays. 1, 2, 3. Woo! Let's go Blue Jays. Let's go Bisons. And we'll see you soon.
Kelly Gruber. Thank you for listening to the Jay Bird Watching Podcast. Please follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Twitch at BirdwatchingGC and our YouTube channel. If you want to support the show and get extra content, please consider joining to our Patreon at patreon.com/birdwatchinggc. Go Jays, go.